Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing, continuing with some partly cloudy skies out there this morning and continuing with those pleasant conditions with slightly below average temperatures and continuing to see a slight onshore breeze this morning. Currently seeing our temperature just above 70 degrees and those northeasterly winds blowing around 10 knots. We should see a dry weather day ahead today, a very minimal chance of an isolated shower around the region, but should be dry overall as we move through the day and as we move through the next several days with things looking to continue dry, and we'll see some warming temperatures as we get into the later part of the week. Looking at the current surface analysis, high pressure in control, we had that area of high pressure centered to our north, focusing that wind flow out of the east-northeast over the region, so bringing in that slightly cooler air off the water. Upper level winds this morning, seeing some onshore flow near the surface, with those winds becoming south-southwesterly. As we get up in the mid and upper levels, seeing fairly weak winds through the column. Our peak wind of 32 knots at 25,000 feet, and the freezing level today was at 12,100 feet. Taking a look at the current visible satellite, we can see generally partly cloudy skies over the local area, but we'll start to see some cumulus clouds developing as we get some daytime heating as we move through the day today. As you can see, points to the north and west of the area, starting to see that cumulus cloud field build in. So expecting that over the local area, with our ceiling likely developing around 3,000 to 4,000 feet as we move through the day today. We'll take a look at the high resolution model. What we can expect as we move through our day, as mentioned, should see dry conditions. This model was the most bullish with the chance of an isolated light shower as we move through the afternoon. We can see here that probability has continued to decrease with every model run that comes out with the HER here. As you can see, just showing some light radar returns well off to the northwest, so feeling more confident that we won't see any precipitation over the area today. And we'll see that continue as we move overnight into tomorrow, seeing a fairly similar day with just a bit more in the way of sun and increased temperature, degree or two as we move through the day on Wednesday, as we'll have a front approaching as we get later into the week. We'll zoom out and look at the European model here starting off Thursday morning. We see as that front off to our northwest starts to approach, we'll see those winds turning more southerly as we move through the day on Thursday. That's going to allow for some warming temperatures ahead of this boundary. And then as this boundary pushes into the local area, particularly as we get into the evening time frame, it does look like models are indicating any shower activity along this boundary does fizzle out and dry out as it moves into the local area. Just seeing some fairly breezy conditions ahead and along that boundary, but it does look like much of the precip probability is going to dry out before it reaches our local area, with just a minimal chance of a lingering shower storm possibly making it into the area. We'll stay fairly mild or warmer, more seasonable as we go through the day on Friday, and then we'll have a secondary front approaching the area as we move through the day on Saturday. So still staying average or just above average ahead of this front, and then this front looks to push through during the evening time frame on Saturday. Slightly better chance we see some shower activity with this one, although it does look fairly dry overall at this time. And behind that, we'll have some upper level troughing building back in over the area, and that's going to bring those temperatures back down to more pleasant conditions as we move through the end of the weekend and into the start of next week, with high pressure building in and looking at dry conditions through that period as well. 24-hour weather risk chart for today, looking at green conditions as we move through the next 24 hours, seeing our high temperature peaking around 75 degrees this afternoon and keeping that slight onshore breeze out of the northeast, peaking around 8 to 13 knots as we move through the day today. As mentioned, do expect some clouds to build in the area, with a ceiling likely developing around 3,000 to 4,000 feet as we move through the daytime today, and just a very slight chance of a isolated shower in the vicinity, but again, as mentioned, that looks to be on less likely as we continue to see the latest model runs come out. Moving through the evening time frame, we'll see skies becoming mostly clear as we lose that daytime heating and some of those clouds start to dissipate. We'll see the winds light out of the north. It's going to allow those temperatures to cool down to around 59 degrees for our Wednesday morning low. And our tides are running slightly above normal. And tomorrow, as mentioned, partly cloudy, a couple degrees warmer, but still a pleasant day with a high around 77 degrees. We're back into the 80s as we move into the second half of the week. We'll see some breezy conditions ahead of that front on Thursday, with a chance of seeing a wind advisory mainly later in the day as that front gets a bit closer to the area, and keeping just a 15% chance of any precip with that front passing through. As mentioned, does look like it will be on the drier side as it moves through. We'll stay in the 80s as we go into the start of the weekend, and that second front pushes through late Saturday. It does look like a slightly better chance, up to a 25% chance of seeing some showers with that front. And then behind that, we'll see those high temperatures back down into the 70s with some pleasant conditions to end the weekend and start off the following work week. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.